This is the pitch for Unheard, an experimental drama short film, written and directed by yours truly, Sally Kim. So, what Gavin really wants is confrontation in his marriage, but he is trapped inside his mind and unable to express the fears and motivations and rage fighting and boiling under his surface. He imagines different fantasies in which he could say the things on his mind when his wife is slipping from his grasp. The short film follows Gavin Torres, the protagonist. He's 26 years old, very composed, ambitious, and calculating. He is emotionally distant in his relationships and tends to focus on his work and climbing the ladder. He wants a stable marriage and someone to come home to. While he appreciates his wife, he struggles to communicate with her, especially when it comes to his emotions. His wife, Penelope Dunn, is 27 years old. She's witty, determined, and meticulous. She's unsatisfied with her mundane and quiet marriage with her husband, who refuses to discuss real issues with her. All she wants is Gavin to communicate and to see some sort of passion or emotion from her husband. Brute is an entity in Gavin's mind, based off his college roommate who was his extroverted, loud, and loyal friend. Brute is very aggressive, raw, and straightforward. He wants to protect Gavin by getting him to defend himself. His anger stems from his fear of injustice and humiliation that Gavin has. Ruse is another entity. Both Brute and Ruse can be either a guy or a girl. It does not matter to me. Anyway, Ruse is based off of his mother, who is a typical soccer mom and from whom he associates with pressure for success. She's very manipulative, mature, and nurturing. She wants to protect Gavin as well, but by convincing Gavin to compose himself. Her anger stems from the fear of rejection and imperfection he feels, especially associated with his mother. So the plot. The plot begins where Gavin comes in late to a dinner where his wife Penelope is waiting and has been waiting for a while. They start to banter, but obviously Penelope's trying to express her anger and Gavin is being unresponsive. When Gavin continues to be unresponsive, Penelope initiates the conversation to confess the fact that she has been cheating, which gets Gavin obviously shocked and enraged, and he retreats into himself, and we go into his mind space, which is manifested in a stairway, and he runs down the stairway to symbolize the fact that he's retreating into himself. When we meet Brute, who stops him. And Brute is very outraged and disappointed because Gavin is running away, and he starts to encourage Gavin to let out his emotions, even if it is violent and negative. We go into a scene where Gavin thinks about how he would confront Penelope if he did it like Brute, but the conversation becomes quickly hostile, and so Gavin comes back into his mind space where Ruse finds Brute and Gavin and is disappointed by the fact that they are causing more pain than good. Ruse gets between Brute and Gavin and starts to calm him down, even mocks him a little bit, and tries to manipulate him into treating Penelope like Penelope treat him and to hurt her. Gavin thinks about it again and goes into an alternate reality where he confronts Penelope this way, but the conversation breaks his heart even more, and he breaks down and comes back to his mind space, where Brute and Ruse are starting to argue over each other as the tension rises in his mind and his heart. Gavin runs away from the fight, and he comes back into reality where Penelope has had enough and is about to leave. Gavin comes back to his mind space and gets to a point where he faces a mirror and a reflection of himself, and as he confronts himself, he finds how he will confront Penelope, but because he's unable to confront himself and let out his emotions there, he's unable to tell Penelope how he feels, and Penelope walks away. So the theme, it explores how the lack of communication about emotions plays into a relationship not only with other people but also within oneself. Tonally, the film is experimental and continuously flows between two realities, one in the actual reality with Penelope, then the other in his mind. The look, as discussed with the DP, Will play with color and contrast, especially in the reality of his mind. The restaurant, I envision, will have a warm and romantic tone to contrast and emphasize their cold relationship. Some references I pulled from while I was writing was Sherlock and his Mind Palace from season 3, Inception, obviously, and then my DP is pulling from Bad Times at the El Royale. So we started location scouting, and my producer has contacted the locations. This is at Larrabee Morris over at the Asbury Seminary. I really like the space because it's enclosed. It's very clean and white, and the lighting can be manipulated in a way that the DP and I will discuss to express the emotion that Gavin is feeling, and when the two different entities appear. I'm thinking also that the mirror scene will be done in the staircase as well because it's such a nice white space. The other location is a restaurant in downtown Wilmore. I like it because it looks very warm. It can be easily created into a space that looks classy, and the storefront is very simple and nice, which is very much a style that Gavin and Penelope would go for as a couple going to dinner. Logistics, the running time should be 5 to 8 minutes. We're shooting in Wilmore, Kentucky. We need 10 to 12 crew members, which we have filled up already, most of them. We're just getting a few more grips and PAs. I require 4 actors, and the auditions are happening this week. 8 to 10 extras for the restaurant scene as well. I need 2 locations and minimum 2 shoot days, but the third shoot day, just in case we need a pickup day. And the budget is $150 for catering and crafty and props and such. But yes, so thank you.